So we can't have on the bottom. So is there a variable here?
No.
Right? That's just a 3, no variable. There a variable here? So I want to know what would make that equal to 0. So if x was 0, if I divide, I get and we're not having Is there a variable here? Nope, so I don't have to worry about that one. So you only have to worry about if there's a variable on bottom, what would make it equal to 0. And we can't have that for a solution, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by my common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this times my common denominator. I'm going to multiply this times my common denominator. And I'm going to multiply this times my common denominator. Yes. So these all are like over 1. They're all on top. So when I do that, what happens to the 3's? They cancel, and I get 10x. What happens to the x's? They cancel, and I get 12. Can I cancel anything in the last one? No. So 2 times 3 gives me 6x. So when I subtract the 6x, so x is 3. So if the only thing I need to check is it that number? Then it's a solution. No. So for number 2, what's my common denominator? So I multiplied through by the denominator. It's a lot of writing, isn't it? So the next time we'll do it without writing it all out, okay? So what's going to cancel here? So the x plus 1 cancels. And that leaves me x times x minus 2. What cancels here? We're going to. And over here, we have 2, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply. So we're going to multiply through by x, so I'm going to get x squared minus 2x plus x squared plus x. And I'm going to distribute the 2. So before we do that, I want to go ahead and combine like terms on this side. So I get 2x squared minus x. And what's going to happen to the 2x squareds? So when I cancel them, I'm left with, so I'm going to add the 2x. So I get x is negative 4. So before I do anything, I have to check for my extraneous solutions. So what would make this 0 and this 0? So if I set those equal to 0, I'd get x equals negative 1 here. And if I set this equal to 0, I get a positive 2. Is my answer either one of these? So it's a solution. So let's do it without so much writing, okay? Let's try one without so much writing. So this one, okay, so that's our common denominator, correct? So the next thing I want to do, I want to see what's going to make errors here and here. So a positive 1, minus 1. Okay, so I'm ready to start multiplying. And so I'm going to do it without writing everything out this time, okay? So I'm going to write the 1 down. And what's going to cancel? So I'm going to multiply by, okay? Then I'm going to write down plus 4. The x plus 1 cancels, so I'm going to multiply x minus 1. So I'm writing down the 7, and both of these cancel, so I don't have anything to multiply by. Okay? So I wrote them out so you could see how they're all canceling, but you don't have to write it all out, right? It's faster not to. So you want to be careful not to miss any terms, though. So here I'm going to get x plus 1 plus 4x minus 4. I'm going to combine like terms and get 5x minus 3. Well, it's 5x equals 7. Now it is. So my x is 2, and it's not either one of these, so it's a solution. What? Yeah. Okay. Questions? Okay. So let's say here we would have gotten -1. Then it's extraneous. So if your answer matches this, it goes extraneous and not solution. If it's the same number. Right here. If I
no, it's what? How do you like equal?
So if x is -1, -1 plus 1 equals 0. And that gives me an error. So we can't have that. Okay? Okay. What's going to be my common denominator here? Right. So how many x's are here? 2. How many are here? 1. So how many x's do I need? 2. 2. Right. So I get 3x squared. Well, there's 2 here. There's 1 there, so I need 2. I need a 3, and I need that x, but I already have it, so I don't need a third one. Okay. So I'm going to write this down because it's not so much to write. And so the reason I wrote it out is because I think it's easier to see, kind of. So on the first of all, what's going to make the denominator equal to 0? Okay, so if I make x a -1, that's a 0. So it's just x equals 0, right? For both of these. Okay, right, it doesn't have a variable. It has to have a variable to set it equal to 0. All right, so on the first term, what cancels? And it leaves me with 1x here, right? So I have a 3x. What cancels next? And it leaves me with, over here, what cancels? And it leaves me with 18. So when you have an x squared, you have to move everything over to the x squared side and see if it factors then. So I'm going to subtract the 18, and I'm going to put this in standard form. So I have negative 18 and positive 3. So that's going to give me 6 and negative 3. So the solutions are what makes these 0. So neither one of them are 0, so they're both solutions. Well, like not on the homework, but on the test it'll be wrong. So you need to have x equals. Okay. So, no, it's map time tomorrow. Friday, map time, I think. Wednesday, we had, yeah, it's tomorrow, map time. Okay. Yeah, sure. X minus 2 times x plus 3. So, what's going to make a plus 2 and negative 3? So what cancels in the first term? So I'm going to multiply by, what's going to cancel in the second term? So I'm going to multiply by, and what cancels here? Everything, so I don't multiply by anything. So I'm going to distribute. So I get x squared plus 3x. So I'm going to subtract x and subtract 3. And we're going to factor. So, no, 3 and negative 1. So if I set this equal to 0, what does x equal? And if I set this equal to 0, so look at this matches. So where does it go? The 1 doesn't match, so it's a solution.